Hello, Miles to Go, Chapter 49. If a man cries in the wilderness and no one hears him, does he make a sound? Alan Christopherson's Diary. Cody, Wyoming was named after the famous, or infamous, depending on what biography you read, William Buffalo Bill Cody. Cody was a frontiersman and showman who brought the romance of a dying Wild West to wild Easterners and beyond, including the crowned heads of Europe. His Wild West show was so popular that it was even said to have improved relations between the United States and Britain. Cody, who was a frontier scout and a natural self-promoter, began as a fictional character in the day's dime novels after the publisher Prentice Ingram discovered the public's voracious appetite for all things Western, a role the real William Cody stepped into like comfortable cowboy boots. I arrived in Cody around 9 p.m., walking in darkness for the last 2.5 hours, something I usually avoid since snakes sometimes like to stretch out on the warm asphalt at night. I'd covered more than 30 miles that day, driven down by the lights of the city. I wanted a warm room, a soft bed, a long hot shower, and a meal I didn't have to unwrap. The freeway turned into Sheridan, the main street through town. Cody is a real cowboy town. We sometimes think of cowboys as remnants of our nation's past, forgetting that they're alive and well, or at least alive. Cowboys are a race as distinct as any I've encountered in my travels, with their own language, culture, history, literature, and costumes. A hat, Wrangler jeans, boots, and big belt buckles, the larger the better. They have their own walk as well, a little bow-legged and stooped, as if their backs hurt. About 1.5 miles into town, I stopped to eat at the Rib and Chop House. My meal was large and heavenly. My server's name was Carrie, a pert, fresh-faced nursing student who looked as out of place in the Cody population as I did. She was also the first person I'd talked to in days. I took my time eating, and when I finally stood, my thighs cramped up. I limped, a few blocks down to the Marriott and booked a room. There was a quilters convention in town, and the hotel was crowded with quilters and cowboys, which seemed culturally congruent. That night, I spent a long time soaking in the hotel's hot tub. When I first arrived, there was another man in the tub. Not surprisingly, a cowboy, and he wore his hat. He tipped it to me as I stepped into the water, pulled off my t-shirt and threw it on a nearby vinyl chair, then settled into the bubbling water. "Howdy," Cowboy said. "Howdy," I said back, not knowing why I was speaking cowboy. He pointed at the scars on my abdomen. "Looks like you're done yourself a little fighting." "Wasn't much of a fight," I said, sinking down into the water. "Me too," he said. He rose up a little from the water, revealing the scar from a knife wound, a slash across his sternum. "You should have seen the other feller," he laughed. I closed my eyes, hoping he might just let me relax. "Where you from?" "Seattle." "Fishing or passing through?" I looked at him for a moment, then replied, "I'm here for the quilting convention." "Oh," he said. He pulled the brim of his hat down and sunk to his chin in the water. A minute later, he got out of the tub and left the spa. I slept well that night, though I had an unsettling dream. I was walking down a long stretch of highway, as forlorn as any I'd passed through, when I saw a woman walking alone ahead of me. It was McHale. I shouted to her, and she turned back briefly but said nothing and kept walking. I kept walking faster until I was running, but she just increased her speed to match mine. She was always just within sight and just out of reach. I woke, the sheets wet with perspiration.